Hey everyone, Nathan here and welcome back. Recently, I bought this little box here, which is called a Norns shield. If you're not familiar with Norns, it's a little music computer. It's a bit hard to describe what it actually does because it just does so many things. Norns is open source, so anybody can write programs for it, which are called scripts. There are many different types of scripts out there. Some are standalone synths, some are sample processors, some are MIDI controllers, some are even just art that you just run and listen to and enjoy. I've been having a lot of fun with this little box, so today I'm going to show you some of my favorite scripts that I've found to play together with Plinky. Now, obviously, I haven't tried every single script. There are so many. In fact, I'll probably have to make another video showing Norns and Plinky together just to get to some of the other scripts that I enjoy. But for now, grab your Plinky and your Norns if you've got them, and let's make some music. This first script is called O-O-O by Infinite Digits, and it's a unique little sequencer. It can make its own FM-based synth sounds, which you can tweak, but like most Norn sequencers, it can also send out MIDI. Each voice gets its own little grid of blinking dots, and then you can patch the dots together. Dots that are patched together will trigger notes in their own random Euclidean pattern. Let's start with the first lead voice, which is sending MIDI out to Plinky. I'm just going to connect two of the dots. There it goes. Let's connect two more. All right, now I'm going to scroll to the bass voice, which is also sending MIDI out to Plinky. Since Plinky is polyphonic up to 8 voices, this is no problem at all. So let's see if we can get a nice little bass groove going here. All right, I really love random or generative sequencers, and this one takes a bit of a different approach, which is fun to work with. Even though I blindly chose the pitches with my dot connections, they repeat in a Euclidean pattern, which makes the whole thing not sound random at all. There are a bunch of generative sequencers on Norns, but this is one I've been having the most fun with so far. All right, now let's add a pad voice to this, and this voice is coming from Norns itself. In this case, each dot is actually a pair of notes. So let's connect these two dots and see what we get. Oh, there it is. How about two more? This script also has some percussion voices, so I'm just going to add some of those in and just kind of jam with this. This is almost a full track here. The next script is called 4cc Fader by Hanjo. This one is a MIDI controller, so it doesn't actually create any sound on its own. For those of you who are not familiar with the Plinky, you've got these two knobs here which you can map to any parameter to change the sound. This is great, but I do often wish I had more knob control, and that's where the 4cc Fader comes in. You can choose 4 different MIDI CCs to control and easily tweak each of them. You can also have 2 different settings for each MIDI CC and then crossfade between those settings. I've got a little ARP sequence going on the Plinky. This is actually the patch from my Perfect Pluck Strings video for Plinky if you're interested in this sound. The 4 MIDI CCs I'm controlling with Norns are the envelope release, resonance, distortion, and reverb send. So on Norns, I can go through each one of these and just tweak them, like here's the release stage. Longer or shorter. I've got some resonance. I've got the distortion. Yeah, it's kind of nice. And this last one was the reverb send. So this is already really convenient on its own. You can also randomize all of the settings here with this button, which I won't do. And the fader function is what's really cool. So I've got these 2 sets of values saved, and now I'm going to fade between them. So I can start with this nice plucky rhythmic sound and then slowly fade over to a washed out ambient sound just by turning this knob. Although I love Plinky's onboard effects, sometimes you just need something a little bit extra. The next script I'm going to show you is called Pedalboard by 21 Echoes. This script does exactly what the title would have you believe. It's a pedal board. It comes with a bunch of different effect pedals which you can chain together. Just about every type of standard effects pedal is on here, including some really handy things like a compressor, an equalizer, and a tuner. It also has emulators for the mutable instruments, rings, and clouds modules. So I've got a chain set up here with a wave folder going into delay and finally going into some reverb in the end. Pretty simple. I'm going to start the same sequence we had going on before for the 4cc fader script. All right, this is the same sequence we had before, and I'm going to turn up each of the pedals one by one. Let's start with the wave folder. Yeah, that's gnarly. So each of the pedals has its own controls, which you can scroll through and tweak and change. Some of them have a lot of the controls, some of them just have a few. Let's add in some delay. Yeah, that's really nice. Okay, and finally, we'll turn up the reverb. There are so many pedals to play with on here. I haven't even explored each one, but I think it pairs really nicely with the Plinky to add just a little bit of extra flavor to whatever sound you've got going on. Nameless Nightmare. What a fantastic name. This is the script by XOXN, which I find myself just randomly playing with all on its own. It's a granular synthesizer which manipulates audio and creates these different granularized drones. It doesn't do live processing, but you can load samples that are saved on your Norns, or you can record live audio, which then gets processed. For this little jam, I've got my Plinky's main outputs going into the mixer off screen and the headphone output going into Norns. The Norns output is then being fed into Plinky's audio input. Now, before you worry about feedback, Norns won't be playing anything while I record the input from Plinky, so I do think we're safe. Okay, I'm going to start this ambient sequence on Plinky. This is actually the ambient patch from my instant ambient video if you want to make this sound on your Plinky. I see Nameless Nightmare as a possible transitional script, so let's say I want to move from this dreamy sequence to something else. Now that I've got it going, I'll record some of it into Nameless Nightmare by pressing and holding the record button. Okay, the recording is in, and now I can choose one of the planets here, which is really nice. I'm going to start with Earth and just press Sense, and that drone will start. And I'm going to bring that level up here in the Plinky. It's the wrong level. Oh, you can hear something happening there. Alright, I'm gonna take out the synth voice so we only hear Nameless Nightmares. Yeah, so you can layer these, choose different planets like Jupiter. Let's add this in. Ooh. In fact, I'm gonna put this through Plinky's internal effects. Some of the planets have moons that you can scroll through and add in different levels of those. I'm not really sure what all these controls do, but they're fun to just mess around with. Let's add in Saturn to the mix. Ooh. See what some of these moons might do. There are also some global controls on here, like the sun, depending on the level, it changes the sound. So you can layer up to 3 of these at once. I'm going to take out Earth and add Mercury. Just for fun, I'll add the synth voice back in a little bit. We're back to just Nameless Nightmares, going through Plinky's effects. I could play with this for hours. This last one is kind of a bonus. It isn't one that I use with Plinky. It's just one I really like just turning on and listening to. It's called FIAHOD by tyleretters license. FIAHOD stands for Fear and a Handful of Dust. Really uplifting. This is a generative musical script which appears to be based on the story The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. There are a few tweaks you can make to this while it runs, but otherwise you can just watch the trees grow and the seasons change. This will be just pure Norns with no other effects. To close out the video, I'm just going to let this run for a few minutes. It's really quite beautiful. If you've already got a Plinky, I can recommend the Norns and vice versa. Norns is open sourced and you can build one yourself with a Raspberry Pi. But for now, it's time to just relax with this beautiful generative script. Enjoy and see you in the next video.